This is your morning Buzzcast for Friday, May 16th. I'm Abe Madcore. What a big season coming up for the WNBA, which tips off tonight, Friday, May 16th. So many storylines. And of course, the league is trying to build on the momentum from last year and keep up with the interest and the demand. And it's difficult because many WNBA teams and even the league office isn't always fully equipped with the resources and the personnel to handle the demand. All signs are pointing to more and more interest, and the story I'll be watching is in the Bay Area, home to the W's newest team. Tonight, Friday, the Golden State Valkyries play their first ever regular season game at Chase Center. This team has become such a business powerhouse already. It has sold more than 10,000 season tickets, has such blue-chip sponsors like JP Morgan Chase, Sephora, Rakuten. Their stated goal is to become the number one revenue-generating team in the W, and they are well on their way to being that. Remember, Warriors owners Joe Lacob and Peter Guber paid around $50 million as an expansion fee to secure the league's 13th team. But let's go back and just look at those ticket sales. For more than a decade, 10,000 season tickets, that was the pivotal number for NBA teams. That put teams in a position to sell out games, and every NBA team president would stress to me when they would hit that mark or eclipse it. A major milestone that reflected their organizational success and acumen, but also one that would be looked on favorably by the league office. If you sold more than 10,000 season tickets, you were in the league's good graces. So I share this history to stress what an amazing achievement this is for the Valkyries to have more than 10,000 season tickets in their inaugural season. I am predicting the team will double the total ticket revenue of the WNBA's top-selling team last year. And the Valkyries' per-game ticket revenue, that will match or even exceed that of several NBA teams. So the work being done by President Jess Smith and her team will make the Valkyries easily one of the most successful expansion teams from a business standpoint, I believe, in the history of sports. So this is a story to keep your eye on as the W tips off tonight. Staying with basketball, the Celtics' $6.1 billion sale to a group led by Bill Chisholm is getting close to being finalized. Multiple reports have that the sale commitments have been finalized and the new ownership group is set. The last step is approval by the NBA's Board of Governors. That is expected June or July. Now, the list of Chisholm's minority partners has not fully been disclosed, but it does include Robert Hale, who's a current member of the Celtics Board of Directors. It does include Bruce Beal, who, of course, is president of related companies and a co-owner in the Dolphins. It does include private equity firm Sixth Street Partners, but per NBA rules, Sixth Street cannot hold more than a 20% stake in the Celtics, and its share cannot be larger than that of the controlling owner, Bill Chisholm. So remember also, Wick Grousbeck will remain in his role as CEO and governor for the next couple of years through the 27-28 season. So on a side note, I was talking to an owner recently and asked him what the biggest difference between running a sports team was compared to his other businesses. He had one quick answer. He said, "Abe, injuries. The fate of my other businesses aren't determined by injury to one of my employees." I thought of that recently, and I thought of Chisholm and wondered what the new Celtics owner, who had just paid a record price for a sports team, was thinking after watching Jason Tatum go down with a torn Achilles and realizing that his core business never had to deal with something as unpredictable as an injury to such a key asset. But more news coming as the Celtics deal is close to being completed. How quickly things can turn for a team. The Mavericks, they've had a rough few months. Most would agree it's because of their own action. But now they are seeing that story turn more positive as the team said it's been inundated with ticket and corporate sponsor related requests in the first day after getting the number one pick in Monday's NBA draft lottery. CEO Rick Welts said in a 24-hour period, they had 28 times more inbound calls for season tickets, 35 times more daily additions to its season ticket waiting list, and the level of inbound calls from sponsors and agencies increased sixfold. So the team is looking to actively leverage that number one pick and the likely selection of Cooper Flagg, and it seems that the marketplace is interested and responding. Mavericks minority owner Mark Cuban, along with a number of professional sports team insiders, are launching a $750 million private equity fund. It's called Harbinger Sports Partners, and it's designed to take small stakes in U.S. pro sports teams. So again, this is another fund. We've seen a lot of them. Cuban here is joined by Steve Cannon. Steve Cannon, a longtime sports executive, former CEO of Arthur Blank Sports and Entertainment. Rashawn Williams, he's a venture capitalist and a Falcons limited partner. He is also involved in this fund. The group will focus on acquiring stakes as high as 5% in teams. It expects to invest $50 to $150 million in each transaction. So why is this important? Well, it seems every week on the Buzzcast, there is a new fund of hundreds of millions of dollars or even $1 billion. We are seeing a wave of new funds. So this tells me that there is enough momentum and proof points now that people feel comfortable that they can actually go out into the marketplace and raise the money and then successfully deploy some meaningful capital. Because a few years ago, when people were equally as bullish, a number of groups struggled to raise the money for their funds, and their funds either didn't go anywhere or actually went kaput. So we will see what transpires, but there does seem to be great optimism in the marketplace right now. Let's end the Buzzcast around people. The University of Maryland drew from the pro sports ranks to hire its new athletic director, naming longtime sports veteran Jim Smith to lead athletics. Now, Jim Smith is currently SVP of Business Strategy at the Atlanta Braves, but he has a long, successful track record. Prior to the Braves, he was at the Falcons as CMO. He worked as general manager and vice president for the Columbus Crew. He worked at Ohio State in marketing and communications. He received his master's in sports management from Ohio State. He had his own consulting firm. Maryland was looking at candidates primarily from outside the mainstream of college athletics. We noted that Michael Yormark was in the mix. So what did that tell me? That told me that colleges today are all about revenue generation, and Jim Smith certainly has that background from the professional ranks. And Jim Smith will replace Damon Evans, who left Maryland to take the AD job at SMU. And the Women's Tennis Association, the WTA, will be looking for a new chair as Steve Simon will retire after a decade of service. He'll leave in December. The board will now begin a search process for the chair position. They'll work with Elevate Talent. So Portia Archer is CEO of the WTA. So the chair will focus on governance, long-term vision and strategy, and working among the wider tennis community to develop the sport. But this job, a good job, will be in the mix later this year, Steve Simon stepping down in December. And finally, I'll be in New York most of next week. We have our Force Sports and Entertainment event Tuesday, Wednesday, and the big night, Wednesday night Sports Business Awards. Let's preview a couple of categories. Sports League of the Year, the nominees, the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, NWSL, UFC, U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, and the WNBA. Very competitive category. That should be an interesting outcome. Also, everybody loves this category, Sports Team of the Year. The nominees, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Florida Panthers, Indiana Fever, Inter Miami, Los Angeles Dodgers, USA Gymnastics, and the Washington Commanders, another very competitive category. Should be a great night as we honor David Hill. Jimmy Johnson and Howie Long will introduce David Hill for his Lifetime Achievement Award. That should be a lot of fun. And so the Sports Business Awards, Wednesday, May 21st, some limited seats still available. So if you're interested, go to our website or just let me know. I do hope to see you in New York next week. And that is your morning Buzzcast for Friday, May 16th. I'm Abe Madcore. Stay healthy, be good to each other. I'll speak to you down the road.